Alright, another big thanks to Chris here for that super clutch run of Pokemon Gold. Next up, we have Final Fantasy XIV Shadowbringers 3.0 LPD Solo Red Mage by MatthiaGryffine himself. So, guys, there is an incentive for this run that is $10 off. We need $10 to get him to fight Thornton King and his knights. So, you know, if two of you donate a $5 each, you'll get to see that little bit extra. Final Fantasy XIV. After that, we also have The World Next Door and its Fight Secret Boss incentive. That's 0 out of $60 at the moment. Sunday bonus game of Ren and Stimpy's Invention. That's still a ways off. For 117 out of 190 for that one. Sonic the Hedgehog, the Zool Glitch Showcase. We're halfway there at $25. Another $25 to get that one on stream. We've got nothing out of $50 to make me mash Triangle very fast in Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker Max Voltage Torture. 0 out of $200 for the Barbie NES game. And nothing out of $250 for new Super Luigi U All Thoughts category. We also have some bid wars coming through as well. So we got Super Mario Exertion, which is coming up pretty soon. So that's nothing and nothing for Kill or Save the Animals. So whoever donates $1 seems to get the choice. But in saying that, we're just about ready to kick off Final Fantasy. So let me get ready with that.
Alright, you got me in? Okay. Alright, all good? Perfect. So yeah, welcome everyone to this Saturday morning here at Pixels for Peace. I am MatthiaGryffine. You might have had me, or you might have known me last year under a different name, but this year I returned and I'm going to do some more Final Fantasy XIV dungeon runs for all of you. Last time I was here at Pixels for Peace, it was for dungeons featured in Final Fantasy XIV A Realm Reborn. Today I'm going to be doing the dungeons for Final Fantasy XIV Heaven's Ward, of which I'll be showing off a total of 8 from the 3.0 dungeon series. And so that is what I'm going to be doing for all of you on my Red Mage, which is what I've been using for years as the most preferred run for doing dungeon runs. But it is changing. We have started to see various dungeons get featured also as well in with other classes that are starting to catch up to Red Mage, and some have even started to get shown off to be better than Red Mage. But it's still a very solid, strong class that can be used for what we're doing. So today, that's what I'm going to be doing for all of you. So I have myself all set up to run the dungeons under solo rules, which means it's different from the usual 4-player party, and I will be doing them in this format. So, oh, are you guys over at Pixels for Peace able to hear me okay? Yeah, and I noticed some things going on. Are you guys all right? Can you hear me okay? Yeah, I don't want to start until I'm certain you guys are able to hear me okay. Okay, thanks there, Mannix. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and we will get started here through the 8 dungeons that I'll be showing off. These will go from the Dusk Vigil down to the Fractal Continuum. These are the dungeons that consists for 3.0. And so the Dusk Vigil is where we will get started. Time will start when the words duty commenced appear on screen, as that is when I will have first control on my character in the dungeon. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, get ready to start the clock. And go. Alright, we're off. Alright, so starting off with Dusk Vigil. This is the first dungeon available in Heaven's Ward. What's interesting about this one is the fact that, unlike other dungeons in A Realm Reborn, the first dungeon that's made available to you is actually optional. This one is one you can get here by going to speak with someone who lost something that was very dear to them, and so you have to go and retrieve it. And so that's the process and the reason why we are in this dungeon. So I'm going to have all my enemies come and pay me a visit over here. I'll be using my various spells and sword techniques to get them to spawn as quickly as I can, and sometimes we got to wait and bide our time for enemies to die so that new enemies can spawn. Yeah, we'll get this Mylodon to come my way. Get everything together like that. And what's interesting is that some of the abilities that are available for Red Mage actually got stronger with the new patch that came out last week. So that was a big deal for us for playing Red Mage, since it allows us to score even more damage. Now, we're off to our first mini-boss here, this Towering Oliphant, and he can be quite a pain if I cannot get the abilities that I need right away, and doesn't look like I'm going to because I'm rolling very low on damage. Yeah, I can sometimes get better damage on this through crit hit, but yeah, marathon luck, not getting the rolls I need, and thus my damage is way lower, so he is going to have his way with me for a while, unfortunately. And there's nothing I can do about it. Yeah, he will use that move to immobilize me and then stun me and basically turn me into a little toy. It is possible to one-shot him before he, or get through a cycle before he gets off any of these moves, but I just was not getting the rolls as far as the damage is concerned. So nothing we can do about that, we'll just have to move on. So as you'll see, this place, the Dusk Vigil, is actually an abandoned fortress, and one of the things that you'll notice as we go through here is that a lot of the enemies are basically zombies that are completely frozen. So I'll have all these guys follow me right to the far end, take them as far as I can go. And then we'll start using our group attacks to get as many of them down as we possibly can. And then the last one that we kill will always have a key for us to use on this door. Obviously, you'll be using my magnification to double my gauge that you see on the right side of the screen. That gauge tells me the counter for how many points I'm putting into my white magic and my black magic, because as Red Mage, I have the ability to cast both in this game. And so, as such, I'm going to be making use of these as best as I can. Yeah, just fight off all the waves of enemies that come my way. Yeah, there's always a few that will slip through the cracks and get completely missed by the attack. Alright, on to the second mini-boss. We'll go ahead and start laying waste to him. Yeah, thankfully he's much easier than the first mini-boss. So, thank goodness for that. Alright, thanks Mannix for letting me know. Alright, into the third section. And we'll go ahead and just start laying waste to stuff. I'll have him follow me. And I'll use my Comfort of 6th attack to clear myself a path. It can only be done to defeat those sprites, so it was essential that I get those guys down. So now lay waste to the sprites. That clears me another path. Oh, guess he didn't want to get attacked. Alright. That's alright. We can worry about that when we get over here. Is he gonna hold back? I wouldn't be surprised if he did, honestly. Yeah, because I would try and turn on this door or open it, but if I take even any damage at all, even the slightest bit of damage, my interaction will get canceled out. So off we go to the final boss area, where we have to deal with this Opinicus character who decided to lay waste to the place. So under normal circumstances, you would have to keep hiding behind various things in order to avoid getting sucked into a tornado that he generates from time to time. But we pulled through and we are moving on. Alright, next up is Sohm Al, which is a great big mountain that has my favorite music in this run. And so off we go to this beautiful mountain. And this place is home to a bunch of dragons. One of the great prominent themes in the Heavensward expansion is the utilization of dragons in the storyline. They feature very prominently in here. And it's something you'll get to see over the course of the run as we make our way through. So I need to, among other things, kill this Drake Spur because it's necessary in order to clear myself a path. Plus, also killing the enemies will also allow me to clear a path. Yeah, one thing you'll also pick up on very quickly why I like this music is that it's very Game of Thrones themed. Now, in this instance, we have to deal with 2 Drake Spurs, so we'll pull everything in. Alright, there we go. Yeah, sometimes I can get them to work the way I want them to. Sometimes it just doesn't. Alright. Now we got Raskovnik. We got this big sentient Russian plant to deal with. Now, normally you would have to worry about those hornets as well because he likes to eat those hornets, and whenever he does, he makes himself stronger. But because we're doing this on solo and because we're so overpowered, it's not that big of a concern. Alright, now we go into this cave, which is also serving as a tunnel to get to closer to the summit. Alright, I'm going to pull these guys with me. So I want them to come right over here. Alright, that'll take them all out. Now I have to wait for this dragon to stop firing. He'll always fire at me. He'll get off a few shots here, and then he'll actually make himself vulnerable to attack, to which then I can start doing so. And we can't advance further until we actually make him fly away after we hit him. So, after 3 shots, he'll make himself vulnerable. Right now, we'll go ahead and hit him. That causes the fire to go away, and we can move on. Now we'll have another section where we now have an ice dragon to contend with. We'll basically be doing the same thing. What's interesting about this is that we can actually damage this ice boulder. It's something we actually want to do in order to build up our meter, but also it'll be useful when we get to the next mini-boss. Alright, takes another shot. So now prepare myself to hit him. And rough. So now we'll go ahead and hang right over here to get to our next mini boss, and we'll start shooting right away. Alright, he's dead. I didn't have to pick up the treasure there, but I decided, you know what, I might as well just do it. Alright, now getting closer towards the summits. But I have to deal with these guys in order to clear a path for myself. Ah, I just held on. Yeah, that can be real troll-like when they just barely hold on by a few percent. So get those dragons out of the way. So now the two dragons that we were dealing with earlier are now going to reappear. So I'm holding off on using my the full power that I have because we're not that far from the boss. So let these guys keep shooting. Alright, get you down. And we're free to go. Now we're getting towards the summits where we will confront the final boss. Now I'm hoping I'll be able to damage it enough that it won't be able to make itself become invulnerable to my attacks, because it is something that this enemy can do. Can I get it off? Yes! Yeah, it is rare to be able to get it off before it goes invincible. If it goes invincible, you have to damage its wings before you can damage it again. Yeah, there we go. That's what I was looking for. And so next up is the Aerie. So the Aerie is the home to the biggest and baddest of the dragons in this game, Nidhogg. And while the story has us trying to avoid confrontation with him altogether, ultimately we are left with no choice but to do so. So we're going to take everything with us to as far as we can go, and then once we have everything together, we will go ahead and proceed to get this thing damaged. Just need everything to come together, though. Alright, there we go. Alright, that barrier is cleared. We can move on. Ooh, that worked out better than I hoped. So now we'll just have this little guy chase us to our next area. And then we'll have everything come together. There we go. Alright, off to mini-boss number 1. So the first mini-boss here is something where if he, under normal circumstances, if he targets you with one of his special attacks, you have to run over to one of these pillars in order to get it off of yourself, because it can be set up in such a way where you can keep yourself from getting damaged by his strongest attack, and also sometimes he'll bring in a friend or two. Alright, with that out of the way, we're now going to jump off the cliff. Yeah, it's quite a drop. Alright, now we got to run across these giant spider webs. where we're also going to have this dragon continuously spraying thunder at us. Now I'm going to intentionally avoid these enemies over here because I'm trying to avoid waking their mother. Yeah, I don't want to wake their mother because if I do, that's just an extra enemy that I don't want to be fighting. So the group attack that I'm using, Contra 6, was an attack that was recently strengthened in the current patch. It used to be that the strongest damage would go against one enemy and then lesser damage would be inflicted on the other enemies, but they took that off in the new patch, so that's no longer an issue. So now all the enemies get dealt the same damage. I'm gonna have these guys follow me all the way over here. And you may have noticed that we did not get attacked by the mama. Yeah, no mamas, no problems.
So just quickly, I'd like to make an announcement. Thank you to a donation from Mannix himself. We are going to be fighting him if
Awesome, thank you so much. Yeah, good job there, donation squad. So yeah, we will have that bonus run after this is finished. Alright, so knowing we'll have that bonus run added at the end of the run, that enemy we were just fighting, he likes to leave poison clouds wherever he goes, and whenever he does that, he really makes things interesting because whenever he drops a poison cloud onto the field, he actually gets stronger. So we needed, though, under normal rules, you would need the mustard gas that spawns from time to time to consume the poison clouds, but it can only consume so many poison clouds before it explodes. So you basically have to ensure that those mustard gases are taking the poison clouds away without actually putting yourself in even greater danger. Alright, so for every set of enemies we kill, we lower these pillars, and we get ourselves further along into the dungeon. Alright, we're getting close to the end here. We're gonna draw these guys in, because ultimately we need to get to this section where we're gonna have a flood of enemies coming our way. So I want to draw them all in if I can, and get my meter built up as quickly as possible, because my manification will allow me to double my counts. So the sooner I get these up to max, the better. Because since we're in the lair of Nidhogg himself, we're going to have to do as much as we can to get him defeated. Alright, away we go. So here, we will have our friend Estenien accompanying us. He's one of the primary characters of the story within Heaven's Ward. He's basically here to use his special power to weaken Nidhogg, to make him easier to hurt. And it worked, as we got him before he could fly away. Because he can do that, and if he does, then you have to fight off a flurry of enemies to beat an enrage timer. But we didn't have to worry about that. So, next up, we are off to the vault. So, at this point in the storyline, the battles with the dragons are now considered over, but now we gotta deal with the corrupt governments in the capital city in the Heaven's Ward expansion. The capital city is known as Ishgard, and they are zealots, as it were, so we are invading their cathedral. And since we are invading a cathedral, perhaps it should be no surprise that the music is all organ. Ooh, one shot, nice. Yeah, I wouldn't have been able to pull that off under the old way that Contra 6 was used. So that is very important for me. Alright, now we'll go ahead and run over here. Because, yeah, they're basically... The Zealots are going to basically throw everything they can at us. So they got all their knights charging in, trying to throw everything they can at us. Alright, there we go. Moving on. Alright, so now we gotta deal with one of the big, bad, super knights, as it were. Because it's not enough to just damage these guys, they have superpowers that allow them to get really huge. And they can do things like that. Yeah, he's just dashing across the field, so we got to slow him down, as it were. And once you've done that, he gets beat, but he gets some time to say his piece before he heads off. And away we go. Time to continue to make our way up through the cathedral. Because, yeah, we ultimately have to try within the story to confront the Archbishop, who is basically the leader of the city. He's the leader of the capital, so, yeah. Now we have to go and get after this guy, but, yeah, sneak attack, but, yeah. I was ready for that. Wasn't quite ready for launching myself into a wall, though. That didn't quite go as planned. So, gonna go all the way around here and get to where these suits of armor are going to come to life. These giant suits of armor. And then... yeah, sure, I'll cut you down, why not? And we're free to go to the next section. So yeah, we're kind of out of the main area where the congregation would be, and now we're into something a little more... I don't know if you could call it tranquil or not, but now it's time to play some chess. Yeah, they have chess pieces, giant chess pieces guarding this place. And now we have to deal with the next Super Knight.
I will not yield to you.
You say that now, but wait until you hear its popular 80s cartoon quote. Yeah, he thinks he's He-Man. So let's show this He-Man wannabe what's up. And down he goes. Yeah, he says time is on our side, but not once I make it to the top. Time to deal with more of the sentient suits of armor. And then we got more chess pieces to deal with. Get them all cleared out. And we're moving on. Yeah, I don't have to worry too much about the AoE that's on the field because of how overpowered I am. So now we gotta draw these guys over here to this little chamber. And once we do, we're gonna have to damage the priests here because we can't advance further until we take care of not just him, but we also have to deal with some other stuff as well. So he is going to sacrifice himself in order to make these gargoyles come to life. So we'll pull them all in towards the door. And now they're all taken care of, so we're off to the final boss. It's not the Archbishop himself. We have to deal with another one of his knights who doesn't even wait to unleash his superpowers. He just goes right for it out of the gates. Yeah, and you have no choice but to do what we're about to do next. So yeah, you now have to clear out all this holy flame. Gotta get rid of all of it. So total of 8. And he unleashes his ultimate attack. Yeah, he calls it pure of heart, but given that these are zealots, he's anything but pure as this final boss. And there we go. So then once you clear the vaults, you, if it's your first time, you get to bear witness to what is regarded as one of the saddest scenes throughout all of Final Fantasy XIV, and one that people still talk about to this day. In fact, when I was doing, not long after I completed my initial turn in the vault, I had one of my friends about to do it, but he liked to skip through everything, and I said, trust me, you don't want to skip what happens at the end of the vault. So, suffice it to say, he took my advice, and just like a lot of people, he was shocked by what took place. So, next up is the Great Gooball Library, where, not surprisingly, because this is a library, we get to enjoy a lot of elevator music here. Yeah, if you're a fan of elevator music, I won't hold it against you. Yeah, in order to get around in this place, we got to have stuff come after us. Oh, wow. That one guy is way behind. Well, thankfully, he has plenty of time to catch up. Alright, free to go. Yeah, we'll just hit you now. Yeah, the reason you come in here to this library is because you have to find one single book in this place. One book. Out of all the books that you could possibly find in here, you gotta find just one. It's not this book that we're coming to, although it is quite a troll of a book. Because you can get yourself killed very easily by this thing. You have to be wary of its moves, like what it's about to do, which can slow you down. Plus, it also can close off itself and then unleash a powerful attack that, if you're standing on the wrong side, can actually kill you instantly. Alright, took care of the book, so time to move on. So now get out of the, I guess you could call it the heart of the library, but we still have a long way to go in it. Yeah, not the least of which includes having to fight this thing. Oh, come my way. Yeah, it was really important that I killed off that sprite, because it can be quite a pain to deal with. Plus, also I can't advance further until I fight off these things. Alright, follow me, please. Give her the book specifically, that little sentient book. Yeah, there's a lot of books you have to fight in this library. Lots of sentient books. Yeah, this is basically punishment for those who thought that going to the library was a waste of time as a kid. Yeah, it's like, dude, you coming? Yeah, he was really biding his time there. He did not want to get attacked. Alright, so next up is this mini-boss, where confronting him means you also have to deal with some extra mechanics. We'll damage him for a moment here, and then once we get to the point where he goes invulnerable, you now have to go and destroy one of these books in order to force this little fire, as it were, to be attached to you, and then you have to pull it into the boss. Only then can you start to damage him again. And there we go. Yeah, in a normal battle, you would have to go through that process twice. It's harder the second time because there'll be additional hazards that you'll have to navigate the flame around. So we'll make our way further down the line. And I'll have all these things come after me. Take it as far as we can. Yeah, get it right over here to Logos. Yeah, this is not the Logos from Final Fantasy X-2, one of LeBlanc's right-hand men. Yeah, probably also remember Ormy and LeBlanc herself. Yeah, these guys aren't anything like that. Oh, I know who this is. Yeah, I saw you, you were doing the, Splatoon run last night, if I remember correctly. So now we are in the final area where we can just clear all these enemies out. And now that we've done that, it's off to the final boss. It is a long run, though, to get to him, though. Here's our final boss, and so he has a couple of very special gimmicks as part of his thing, including once he targets you, he will try and send sparks your way, which are very powerful, and if you stand in them too long, they will kill you. Plus, he also has these void calls that, if you don't kill the guy in time, he can summon really powerful enemies for you to have to be dealing with. Thankfully, though, because we are so overpowered, we don't have to worry about them. I wasn't getting any criticals, though, in that fight, so it didn't help speed up the process, unfortunately. Alright. Next up is the Etherochemical Research Facility, which within the main story would be the last dungeon. But because we're doing a 3.0 run, we're also including the 2 bonus dungeons that come after you beat the game, quote-unquote. So now we have this fancy little place. And not surprisingly, since it's a research facility within a JRPG, its technology is vastly superior to anything that currently exists within the known world. So in order to get ourselves further along, we need to clear all these guys out. And once we do, we're free to go. But yeah, I'm sure a lot of you who have played JRPGs in the past are familiar with that trope within them that no matter how great your society is in-game, there's always an ancient civilization whose technology was vastly superior, but they somehow collapsed. For one reason or another. Yeah, it's one of the weird things featured in JRPGs, but I guess that's part of their charm. Alright, pull everything in. So yeah, now the enemies that we're fighting are part of the crap, I got stunned. Anyway, as I was saying, the first set of enemies that we're fighting around here are actually part of the initial group of villains from A Realm Reborn, known as the Garlean Empire. And so we have to deal with their commander here at this particular location. Thankfully, this is the last we have to see of them, though. Just need to beat him, and we are free to go. And now off to section 2. So now we'll get all these creepy things to follow us. And take them all out in one shot. Yeah, that upgrade they gave to Contra 6 is so useful here. So now we have to start damaging these bioculture nodes. They also release more enemies onto the field, as it were. So we need to get that down and then deal with all the monsters they summoned. Oh, go down. Ah, one step through the cracks. Yeah, ranged enemies will have the ability to be able to just stay out of the range of your attacks, even if it's an AoE. Alright, I'm gonna switch things up here a bit. And have everything pile in. Alright, there we go. Time to move on. It does have a monthly option, but you also have a quarterly or semi-annual option as well for the subscription. So yeah, you do have multiple choices in that regard. Oh, gotta turn around to avoid getting petrified. Alright, go. That should be enough, and it is. Well, you can basically buy the game with all of its expansions right now as a whole for like $80. So you would get all 5 expansions for the price of 1 or 2. So yeah, security now is trying to stop us from advancing any further. I mean, I can say for certainty that over the course of the 6 years I've been playing this game, I've been getting my money's worth. Yeah, the only time I'm spending money on a game that's not this is if it's a popular indie title that people really enjoy, or if something's on sale. Like a couple of weeks ago, for example, I was able to get some Persona 5 off of PSN on sale for $15. So yeah, once we clear a set of enemies, more paths get revealed to us. Yeah, I already made it past the first story within Persona 5. And so I've moved on to the next one. Yeah, I'm definitely enjoying it. I also got Tales of Vesperia a couple of months ago on sale. Really been enjoying that one too. Yeah, my exchange rate is pretty much about yours there, Erie. Yeah, I'm from Canada, so I know what you mean on the exchange rate situation. Gonna try and get all these mages to bunch up. There we go. Get him down. Start going after these guys. Yeah, this one likes to take a sweet time getting off the platform. And finally, get over to this area, where we'll now start to get into the dark area of this place. And deal with the final, not just boss, but boss-is of basically what is the set of enemies that is really notorious throughout the duration of Final Fantasy XIV as a whole, the Ascians. They hate people like me. They only care about wanting everything to be in the dark.
Darkness shall
So we have to deal with this tag team of bad guys. We have to weaken one of them to the point where the other one swaps in. So one comes out, the other comes in.
You have meddled enough. You'll not defeat me again.
Oh, yes, we will. And so, having had enough of our shenanigans, they've fused into one monster. And this is the true final boss. They like to do this thing here with these blizzard spheres and the fire spheres. We have to destroy them before they come into contact with each other and the boss itself. Now I need to start getting as much damage as I can. If I cannot damage the Asking Prime fast enough... Oh! That's interesting. We had a phase skip. Yeah, I'll be honest, I have not had it done that way before. Yeah, what's normally supposed to happen is that if you're in a situation where you can't damage the boss in time, you have to jump into a portal, one of these little portals, in order to save yourself from its ultimate attack. Yeah, we had a bit of a phase skip there, and it went and gave us another set of spheres to deal with. So we beat that combo boss, and so now, off to the 2 bonus dungeons of 3.0, starting with Neverreap. So this bonus dungeon is really beautiful, especially if you get it in the daytime. We have to speak with these bird people, and they give us some thunder eggs to place on these altars, and that's the only way we can launch ourselves to the next area. We basically have to kill everything we see in order to advance further. Everything up as best we can. Yeah, we have to kill everything in order to advance further. Alright, clear that out of the way. And move on. On to the next island. Yeah, you may have noticed as well that all these islands are floating. Yeah, I'm gonna pull him in. You may have to get shot up by that tornado, but that's alright. Just need to pull everything over here. Oh, careful. Yeah, I launched myself right into a tornado. And it's not going away. Alright, let's wear these things down. And go ahead and put another egg on the altar. And get to our first mini-boss. This mini-boss can be pretty tricky because he likes to hide from time to time. So yeah, try and get as much damage as I can on him. Now I need to find him in the mist, which is not easy. If you have a quartet, a normal party of 4, this is much easier. So yeah, we need to force it to fly off. And then we can keep damaging the boss itself until it flies away again. And now we once again have to look for it. Come out wherever you are. There you are. Yeah, force the escape. Okay, it won't do that a second time. It will do it twice. And now we can move on. Now we get to go have fun in the woods. Do ultimately need to get these things to follow. And I can tell this guy is not going to be letting me off that easily, so deal with him. And I want to try and damage these Vespa as fast as I can as well, because they have an ability called Final Sting, which can be very dangerous. It is lethal. It is a lethal ability, so I do need to be careful. Alright, pull everything in. And now let's start weakening the totems. Oh, really? Held on by just a very slim margin. Yeah, this soundtrack is amazing. In fact, the game as a whole has an amazing soundtrack. I mean, this is a Final Fantasy XIV game that is a trademark of the series as a whole, of the franchise as a whole. That many of the songs are very iconic. Oh crap. Yeah, I was trying to do a swift cast there to get an instant cast on him, but it wasn't working. Yeah, if I didn't stop him before he brought his little token to life, I would have had to kill it first because he would have gone invincible. So here is where we will use our final Thunder Egg. Let's go ahead and make the stones rise from out of the water. And where do you two think you're going? Alright, let's bunch everything up. Yeah, sometimes you'll have geysers spouting up right between your legs and you'll start drowning, so you gotta be careful about that. Alright, there we go. Yeah, get your attention. And we'll run all the way to the far end. And it seems like these guys like to take their sweet time too. Yeah, these guys have gotta go down. Alright, clear our path, we can move on to the final boss. Alright, time to go deal with this guy. So this guy has some crazy abilities, including having the ability to make himself go invincible after a certain point in time, because he will have fancy little things that like to make your life a nightmare. Oh, but if I'm lucky, I might be able to beat him right here, right now. If I can get this cast off in time, yes. All right, I beat him to the punch. And that just leaves the fractal continuum. And so Fractal Continuum is also a place with a really good soundtrack. This one reminds me particularly of F-Zero GX. And away we go. Yeah, so in some of the songs here, it feels like Daiki Kasho himself has his fingerprints on the influence of the music itself. Yeah, there's a battle in particular within A Realm Reborn that really helps me feel that way. So we're gonna go ahead and start pulling everything we can as far as it'll go. So we'll go ahead and clear out this wave of enemies before we advance further. Yeah, it's always nice when I can use my core and displacement to get as many backflips as possible and dashes as possible to get everything to move more quickly. Yeah, I do see a enemy trying to hide, but he's not gonna get away that easily. Alright, off to the first boss. Yeah, show yourself so we can have our fight. So I'm gonna have to be careful with this guy because he likes to do fancy moves where he not only likes to go front and back and side to side with his AoE, but he also likes to drop some little extra surprises as well. Alright, free to go. Alright, going in. Off to the next section, so this is a really good area for me to just pull a lot of enemies. Once they come into view, that'll be something I'll be able to do very easily. Yeah, come follow me, all you freaks of nature. Because that's basically what these things are. They're scientific experiments of animals, so they are all literally freaks of nature. Yeah, figuratively and literally. Alright, get you guys to come say hello. Yeah, even though we got those enemies down, we still have to clear off another wave. Get all these things down. Yeah, get away before he got that off. Alright, time to deal with this freaky Minotaur. Yeah, this Minotaur has some really high-powered attacks. If you're standing too close, you will feel just how painful they are. I don't know if I'm close enough to get hit here. Ooh, he just missed. I'll take it. I will take it. So now we've looped back to the start of the dungeon, and now we're going into a second area. And this is where things really get fancy. We get to have a full-on light show to enjoy. I'm going to try and draw these guys in, because I ultimately need to pull in everything in order to make this panel over here on the right be able to be deactivated. So there goes the first of 3 barriers. And we'll launch ourselves to the next section. And we'll pull all these guys in. But they won't be the only things I'm gonna have to worry about here. Oh, not in line of sight? I resent that. Alright, they're down. Deactivate the next one. And move on to section 3. And get launched. Alright, away we go. Try and pull everything in. Ooh, that was good damage there. Got some good crit hits out of that. And finally, over here. Take you out. Yeah, I didn't have to worry about the reservoirs there, so once we get all the 3 lights turned off, we can go confront the final boss. So time will be when the screen, when I leave the dungeon. Yeah, I was about to say when it fades to black, but no, that's not how it works in this run. So, time to deal with the Curator, and the Curator has a very interesting thing where you'll be fighting him normally, but then you have to deal with his friends who will leave very dangerous trails, as it were, on the screen. And you'll have to deal with those too. Yeah, they're his friends. So they'll leave a little mess for you to have to deal with, unless you destroy them quickly. Alright. And time is right now. And so there we go, the 8 dungeons for the 3.0 of Final Fantasy XIV's Heaven's Ward expansion. So, since we got that all pulled off, that means since we also met the incentive for the final boss duel of Heaven's Ward, we're going to go ahead and show that off. So, after you deal with the Archbishop, he then turns into, you remember the Super Knights that we had to deal with earlier, so now we have to deal with them and the Archbishop, as he's now declared himself a king. And he's basically become a demigod, as it were, so we need to teach him a lesson on what it means when you deal with getting into zealotry, as it were. So we're gonna have to deal with His Majesty, King Thordan. And now the process begins to beat him up. Yeah, he'll have a lot of fancy moves, including that little trick right there. He also likes to sometimes paralyze you if you stare into his special eye. Yeah, and his Super Knights will not be able to be damaged yet. They'll just go around and leave their own little gifts for you to have to put up with. So yeah, he'll have Dragon's Eye, and you'll know that Dragon's Gaze is next, which you have to turn away from if you don't want to get stunned. And go. Yeah, it's very important to keep your eye on him, but also on the floor whenever he does fancy moves. We're not going to unleash our full power on him yet because we can't kill him right away. Because eventually we're going to have to get to the point where he retreats, and then we'll have to deal with all of his knights and their power. Some of them will be able to damage, some we will not be able to damage. You just have to stay clear of everything they throw at you. Yeah, they'll start randomly appearing. You'll start seeing fire getting thrown around. There's these things that if you have a full party, you can have various people stand in to mitigate damage. But we only have one person, so it's not going to do that much for me. And it'll cause me to get paralyzed as a result. So this guy we can damage. He's featured in that one sad scene that I mentioned earlier. And you gotta deal with this guy dashing across the screen. And we have to put up with this tandem. Yeah, bring it on, you. Now we have to deal with a shockwave from another of the Super Knights. Now it's going to move into a phase of AoE dodging. And another situation where if I was playing with a full party, which in this particular battle would be 8 people, you would see these black and red dots scatter all across the field and you have to dodge 8 of them. And so now comes the last big hurrah from the Super Knights themselves. So they'd like to leave this little set of treasures that you're gonna have to put up with. Alright, they're all gone. And so now, basically, we get the Final Fantasy VII. If you ever got the Knights of the Round materia and you used it, this is basically the 14 version. But it's not being used to help us, it's being used against us. Yeah, all of the king himself and all of his Super Knights are all over the place, then they're all ready to unleash their ultimate attack. So there's the ultimate end, but the king is about to meet his ultimate end in just a moment. And there we go, we got him. Thus the battle is won, and we have officially beaten the game. Of course, we were doing it in such a way where you won't get to see how it all ends, but I would encourage you to do if you ever buy this game and play it for yourself. But yeah, thanks to everyone who's up this morning to help support Pixels for Peace. Make sure to keep donating to support Save the Children. Keep up the good work with it. And thanks to everyone who supported me for the run. Please make sure to follow me on both Twitch and YouTube at MatthiaGryffine. I regularly stream on Twitch or on YouTube more than I do on Twitch, but I would certainly encourage you to follow me nonetheless, because I am going to be preparing after this day to try and qualify for GDQ, so I'm going to be spending a lot of time on Twitch over the course of the next couple of weeks, so I hope that you'll be able to support me there. But keep supporting Pixels for Peace, keep donating to support Save the Children. Let's reach that $2,100 goal, and we'll see you guys again next time. So thanks to everyone who brought me in for coming back once again. It was really great to be back, and we will move on to the next one. So thanks everyone for watching, and until next time everyone, may you ever walk in the light of the crystal.
Cheers, MatthiaGryffine. That was a fantastic run of Final Fantasy 15. Thank